Good day, guys. Welcome again to an episode of Learn the TOEFL the Easy Way with Teacher Fish. Our lesson for today, as many test takers would describe, if not the most, one of the most difficult TOEFL reading questions is called Inference Question. So try to listen carefully at everything that we are going to talk about. And I promise to do my best to help you make Inference Question an easier question to answer. Inference questions are said to be more advanced because you have to be able to understand certain arguments that the author of the passage is making. You are then required to think about the information in the passage and then come up with various conclusions about it. In other words, this question type requires you to pick up on information that is indirectly stated, rather than being directly stated in the passage. As test taker, you will also be asked to infer the author's intent. This means that the answer to an inference question is never stated in the passage. Instead, the answer is implied. Remember this, many inference questions ask about cause and effect. Others ask you to make comparisons between two things, people, events, or ideas. An inference question will appear on the test like this. Which of the following can be inferred about X? Or, the author of the passage implies that X. Or, which of the following can be inferred from paragraph 1 about X? Notice that the words infer and implies are colored yellow. Those words will be the indicators that you are about to answer an inference question. Again, always keep in mind that it is important to know what kind of question type you are answering so that you know what strategies to use. Moving on, let us now talk about the techniques or strategies that can help you make answering an inference question much easier. The first one is, learn to read between the lines. But, what does learn between the lines mean? It means that you are trying to discover a meaning that is hidden rather than explicitly said. Remember that the author's words often have a second meaning. These meanings would not be stated on the passage though. They are merely hinted. Side tip. To be able to read between the lines, you have to make use of other words, phrases, or even sentences within a paragraph or passage as guides in order to draw a logical or sensible conclusion. Now for the second strategy, pay attention to how the author organizes the passage. Many passages have cause and effect relationships. When you notice that the author is describing an event, idea, or phenomenon, consider what some possible effects of one of them may be. Say for instance, the passage is talking about dinosaur extinction. Then the author writes that the Earth, millions of years ago, was in close proximity with a huge ball of fire and is traveling at a fast speed toward the direction of Earth. So from this situation, we could conclude that the reason dinosaurs went extinct was that the huge ball of fire collided with the Earth and wiped out everything on it. The next tip is rather simple but very important. Always remember that the correct answer to an inference question will never contradict with the main point of the passage. So, always have the main or central idea of the passage in mind when answering this question. In addition, try to avoid answer choices that do not agree with the central idea of the passage. Finally, be very keen at selecting your answer. Some answer choices may contain words that appear on the text. Be careful of them because they are often intentionally misleading. Now, let us check how you understand the strategies I gave and see how they work in solving for inference question. Here is a part of a reading passage. It says, the levels of oceans, seas, and other larger bodies of water are not constant but instead rise and fall periodically. These changes are called tides. Tides are mostly the result of the force of gravity on the water. In Earth's case, tides are caused not only by Earth's gravitational forces but also by those of the sun and the moon. Acting in concert, they cause the tides to rise and fall throughout the day. As a general rule, tides occur twice a day. There is both high tide, when the water reaches its highest point, and low tide, when it reaches its lowest point. The levels reached at high tide and low tide vary over time. The alignment of the Earth, Sun, and Moon affects these levels. During new and full moons, the alignment of all three bodies causes the tides to reach their greatest levels. Now for the question, it says, which of the following can be inferred about the tides? A. When they are going to occur is not possible for people to predict. B. They are very low at the halfway point between the new and full moon. C. They might be higher than normal depending on the season. D. High tide may occur up to 3 times in one day. If you chose B, then you are correct. I will explain in a bit why choice B is the right answer. But first, let's find out why choice A is not a good answer choice. It is simply because the passage does not include anything about predicting when the tides will occur. Choice C is also incorrect because there is no mention of the seasons in the passage. Answer choice D is wrong as well. Yes, the passage notes that tides generally occur twice a day. But there is no hint that there may be up to 3 high tides in one day. So this leaves us with just answer choice B and why it is the best answer choice. The explanation there is, in the passage the author writes, during new and full moons, the alignment of all 3 bodies causes the tides to reach their greatest levels. Since the tides, according to the statement, are at their highest levels during both the new moon and the full moon, it can then be inferred that they are at their lowest point halfway between the 2 events. Still a bit confused? Okay. Here is another example. I will again read it for you. The passage says, many directors try to create the most realistic films possible. To do this, many employ special effects. This is especially true of directors of action films. Special effects can be either audio or visual in nature. They can be small-scale effects such as the sounds of cars driving or a simple background view of a city. They can also be large-scale effects. Examples of these are exploding buildings or flying spaceships. Today, many special effects are done with computers. They are generated electronically and then inserted to a film. Yet the use of computers is relatively a recent practice. In the past, special effects artists had to be creative. For instance, they painted background for scenes in the films. They used puppets, especially when filming aliens, monsters, or other non-human creatures. Sometimes they built small models of large objects and filmed them from very close up. The question says, the author of the passage implies that special effects A. are relatively expensive to create. B. are convincing when done by computers. C. are commonly used in action films. D. can make aliens and monsters more realistic. Answer choice C is implied about special effects. The hints that the writer provides are found on the statement, to do this, many employ special effects. And the sentence that says, this is especially true of directors of action films. By writing, especially true, the author implies that action films require a great number of special effects. It can therefore be inferred that action films commonly use special effects. Answer choice A is incorrect because there is nothing written about the cost in the passage. While computers are mentioned, their effectiveness at making special effects is not hinted at, so choice B is also incorrect. Choice D is another wrong answer choice since there is nothing mentioned about how realistic aliens and monsters look because of special effects. So again guys, we have reached the end of our lesson about a used to be difficult question, now made easier reading section question called Inference Question. Please do not hesitate to ask questions by leaving them on the comment section and I will do my best to answer them promptly. And always remember, the TOEFL is not difficult, if you know what to do. I have also uploaded some practice exercises here on my channel for you to sharpen your TOEFL skills. Finally, please don't forget to subscribe, press like, and turn on the notification bell so that you'd be informed whenever I upload a new lesson or practice exercises. With that, see you again on the next episode of Learn the TOEFL the Easy Way with Teacher Fish. Have a great day everyone.